So do you recall the details of this photo, or recall the photo being taken?
No, I don't think I ever knew the photo was taken.
Okay, and for those who can't see it, it's a photo of you in a hot tub. There's a person next to you here. Do you remember where it was taken? Where was it taken?
I'm almost sure that this pic, and I think there's an adjacent photograph, which you probably have, that if people saw it, they would feel that someone was trying to con them showing this picture. But anyway, this picture was taken in Brunei. And we flew one night on a trip to Asia, the last very long leg.
You said we, is it, who is that including?
Well, my TIL team that was working
Thank you.
on the AIDS issue, and Mr. Epstein was there, and Ms Maxwell. But anyway, we got to the end of the flight was Brunei. It's a tiny place, but a very wealthy one, and the Sultan of Brunei was a man that I had gotten to know well in my 8 years as president. And his first involvement with international matters was basically to join the Asian Pacific Economic Leaders Conference, which I started and which he attended. And then he was very proud of that, and he hosted, his time came to host it. You know, you do these things in rotation. And it came at either at the very end of my term or maybe in the next year. Anyway, he wanted, when he knew I was coming, and he said he wanted to help me with my AIDS initiative, and he invited me to stay there. And he said, I want you to stay at this hotel, and I hope you'll use the pool. So I did, and then I got out and went to bed, exhausted.
And then I have to ask this, did you engage in any sexual activity
No.
with this person? Great. Thank you.
Play a few holes with us. And he somehow knew I had flown in Jeffrey Epstein's aircraft, and he said, you know, we had some great times together over the years, but we fell out, all because of a real estate deal. And he said, I'm sorry it happened. That's all.
When did you first meet Jeffrey Epstein?
Well, I will try in this testimony, and I will point it out when I'm aware there's a picture or something that predates it. There's a picture that shows him shaking hands in the White House Historical Association reception. That was in 1993, but I'm not aware of that. I first remember meeting him when I got on his airplane to take the first trip with my foundation in, I think, 2002. Sometime after I left the White House, either in late 2001 or early-ish in 2002, I received a call from Larry Summers, who had been on my economic team and was later Secretary of Treasury and was then president of Harvard. And he said that he was calling because a man named Jeffrey Epstein, who had made a substantial commitment of several $1 million, I think it was 10, but whatever it was, I don't, to brain research, and that he was a information hungry person, and he wanted to spend some time talking to me about economics and politics. And he said, he's got this massive airplane, and he said he would take you, your staff, your Secret Service detail, and anybody else you wanted to bring on the trips that he knew I was planning to set up a global network to provide life-saving AIDS medicine to as many people as possible, as quickly as possible.
Let's talk about Ms Maxwell. When did you first meet Ghislaine Maxwell?
I believe I first met her with him when she was working with him.
And what did you understand Ms. Maxwell, and what did you understand her relationship to be with Mr. Epstein?
I thought she was sort of his chief of staff or administrator.
And you said that you first met Ms. Maxwell with Mr. Epstein. Is that after you were president?
Yeah, I don't believe I met her when I was president. I could have. I met a lot of people, you know, I don't remember, but I definitely remember meeting her on that first flight.
Can you briefly, for the record, describe the nature and extent of your relationship with Ms. Maxwell?
Yes, it was. It lasted longer and was more extensive than my relationship with Mr. Epstein, because Ghislaine Maxwell started going with a man named Ted Waite, who had made a lot of money making the first sort of self-designed computers. And he was a big supporter of mine and the foundation before he started seeing Ghislaine. We'd been friends, and he was interested in, particularly in reducing pollution in the oceans. And so when she started going with him, I would see her from time to time.
When did you first learn of Jeffrey Epstein's crimes?
I think in 2008 when he was prosecuted. There's nothing that I saw when I was around him that made me realize he was trafficking women, and I never.
So, for the record, you never discussed anything related to Mr. Epstein and young women or girls?
Absolutely not.
Well, at least one of the survivors claims that you flew in a helicopter with Ghislaine Maxwell to the island.
Did you ever?
Then I did not do that. I've never been to that island.
Dr. Bledsoe described at least one of the girls serving as a masseuse. At any point, did you or other male passengers receive a massage from this young woman or any other young women who are described as a masseuse?
Well, I've seen one picture that shows that in a airport waiting area, one of the women was massaging my neck. That's all I've seen.
Do you have any specific recollection of interacting with Ms. Maxwell at that wedding?
No, I was an emotional wreck. I was just trying not to fall off the little, what do you call the pallets?
The dais?
No, the wooden that we walked on the grass with. I knew she was there, and she and Ted were there.
And what was your understanding of her relationship with Mr. Waite at the time?
Well, I thought they were together, and I think Chelsea and Mark did too, and through there. I think we're fine. I'm struggling because it's hard to know exactly what I knew when I knew it, given what I've learned since. It's become a kind of a compelling challenge. And neither she nor I remembered shaking his hand all those years ago. So I don't think that was right. On the other hand, I do think you should be talking to me. I think you should have called me. I did take those plane trips with him, and you have a right to ask those questions.
In your opinion, does she deserve or should she be granted clemency by President Trump?
I don't think I should comment on that. I don't know anything about President Trump other than what I've already told you. And I thought it was a mistake to pardon everybody in the January 6th case. And I think that this thing was really hard for me when it came out because we had been friendly with Glenn. I was sad, but it was terrible what she did, and she has to be punished. Somebody besides me should make a decision on what it is. So she got 20 years, and there it is.
Okay.
Thank you.
I wish Shantae had told me. I liked her. But I didn't think it was anything unusual. I can't tell you how many airplanes I've been on where rich people asked me to go and they had someone offering a massage. All these boats that you go on and all that, they all do that. And usually I don't do that. I'm not into this.
Okay, how many times did Ghislaine Maxwell visit your home in Chappaqua?
I have no idea.
Who invited her?
Well, I don't know. I don't know how. She may have been.
Mr. President, that's it.
Okay.
Hillary had political events there.
Okay, so is it is it to your knowledge, was she at your home in Chappaqua likely because your wife had her over for Senate events? That's what you testified earlier today, correct?
That's not what he testified, but please ask the
I would
question
like
as
him
to
to
what he would
clarify.
actually, thank you, I appreciate that.
I do not know. But if you are
Mr. President,
implying the
you don't know.
reverse, I will volunteer something. She was never at my house in Chappaqua for any personal reasons.
I didn't say anything for anything
No,
personal.
you
I-
didn't, but you had a great tone in your voice and you're
Mr.
very good
President,
at
Mr.
it.
President, let's just